Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. Outlining that police intelligence is being beefed up, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is assuring Vincentians that national security is a top priority. At a media conference today, PM Gonsalves, who is responsible for national security, said in 2001 some $16 million was spent on some 650 police officers. He noted that today there are close to 850 officers with over $32 million being spent. With an additional 20 officers to join the RSVG police force, the Prime Minister said it is necessary to have more manpower to combat crime as there are ruthless associational groupings. PM Gonsalves also lashed out at those who are playing politics with crime and who are trying to place the blame on his ruling Unity Labour Party administration.
Links and competition between these different constellations or groupings of criminal activity. The police also have advised that one or more of these associational groupings from time to time hire criminal persons outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to carry out actions against one or other in these associational groupings. I hear sometimes people on the street would say, but how that killing this song so professional? Tell me if I don't make sure that the posts of the magistrates are filled, if I don't develop a prosecutorial service. Tell me about those things, which if I don't try to educate children. Tell me about those things. Criticize me on those things. But don't reduce a complex matter to this nonsensical, childish, political rubbish.
In giving full support to diligent police officers who carry out their duties, PM Gonsalves advised them to reasonably protect themselves and law-abiding citizens.
Give the assurance to the public that this Prime Minister takes the issue of security, citizen security, very seriously, and that we are strengthening a lot of operations in the police force, intensified tactical work being done. I'm not going to speak about what is being done within particular strategic frameworks. Providing the wherewithal to the police to be able to do their jobs. But I say again to the police officers who are on the front line, when you are confronted or when you are face to face or when you're involved in doing your job and you meet gunmen who want to do you harm or you apprehend harm, or persons with implements of violence, you are not obliged to recite the Beatitudes. And your first option is not flight. You are entitled to repel the source of the threat reasonably. And I add that important adverb. But that adverb, reasonably, is not to detain you from protecting yourself or the community.
The Minister of National Security also pledged his government's support to defend police officers and said they will continue to receive the necessary training.
If a police officer is doing his work and acts reasonably, in other words, he is not on a frolic of his own, that this Prime Minister and this government will use every lawful means to defend you. In other words, you do your job reasonably, you're not on a frolic of your own, you can rely on the right-thinking people of this country as represented by their government to stand in your corner.
Crime fighting is not all about simply having stronger penalties and a larger police force. That's the view expressed by opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday while speaking on Boom FM on Monday morning. Speaking on the escalation of criminal activities in the country, Dr. Friday outlined that everyone has to come together as a nation to try and rescue SVG from criminal minds, as well as the bad policies that are leading the nation down a wrong path.
Promised, by the ULP when they're in opposition, they said it will make the country ungovernable. But that's one promise they've kept. Because right now, the situation is out of control. They have lost control of the country. So one of the things that has to be done is there has to be, in terms of crime fighting, you have to make sure that the police are functioning professionally. When they say that some people are connected so they get away with a slap on the wrist or they are not prosecuted at all. And others, for any small slight, they are sent, to prison for 6 months, 9 months a year. So you have to make sure that you keep politics away from the operation of the police force. We have laws on the books here that can protect us in St. Vincent, but we're not enforcing them because, people have to look to see which party card they carry before they take action. What we also have to do, Bing, is you have to get the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines growing again. People are on edge now. Everybody's finding it difficult to make ends meet. Everybody's short-tempered. Everybody's looking for advantage and shortcut because they feel that they are losing out in this economy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The opposition leader said his New Democratic Party offered to come together with the government and other relevant agencies to have a joint approach in tackling crime.
Recall that Mr. Eustace, when he was leader of the opposition, recognizing that this was a trend that was occurring, he offered on behalf of the opposition to come together, to let us have a joint approach. He was told by the Prime Minister, he didn't accept the offer, that he didn't want to do it because it make Eustace look Prime Minister. You're going to put partisan political advantage above national needs in a crisis situation. That is ridiculous. Of course, we will work together with whomever, with the government, with the police, with social organization, to try and find a solution to this problem, because it is one that you can't solve as a political party by yourself. Not a single solution that will solve the entire problem. We have to have a multifaceted approach. We have to have all hands on deck.
Pointing out that he is pleased with the efforts of social organizations and activists to bring the issue to the forefront. Dr. Friday reiterated his position that a change in government will help turn things around.
There's a loss of hope and expectation that things will get better within the country. That's why everybody's sort of just grabbing what little bit they can get for themselves. They're not looking at community, they're looking for self, because that's what happens when you're in a situation of shortage and scarcity, and jobs are scarce, and everything seems to be going downhill. This is something that has to be, you have to start a serious discussion with first admitting that we have a problem, and that the problem is getting worse. It is getting out of hand. And if we don't arrest it now, you talk about the situation in Venezuela, you talk about the situation, there are other countries in the world, yes, that are worse than us. But why should we take comfort from the fact that we are not the worst?
Thanks to tribalism, SVG is not politically in a position to garner the required unity to deal with issues such as natural disasters. That's according to Queen's Counsel Panel Campbell on his Law and You program last evening on SVG-TV, continuing the discussion on political tribalism. Campbell said, much like other Caribbean countries, the political system, which is a system of competition, is not designed for times of disaster, adding that it inhibits the nation's ability to maximize its resources.
Certainly in terms of economic development, the times are always times of trouble. We are classified as developing countries, but that is a bit of a euphemism. We have in the Caribbean high levels of unemployment and underemployment, high levels of underdevelopment. Governments of all shades in all countries have been trying their best in the circumstances. But I want to suggest to you that because of the nature of our governance, based as it is on political tribalism, we are not maximizing the resources which the good Lord has blessed us with.
Campbell took the opportunity to compare SVG's system of governance to that of the United States, which allows for greater participation of political parties, thus facilitating cooperation in critical areas.
Every congressional committee must have representatives of the two parties. So that is why in the United States now, you will find in the House of Representatives, the Congress as colloquially called, committees with Democrats and Republicans. In the House of Senate, committees, Democrats and Republicans, reflecting proportionately the total number of seats represented by Democrats and Republicans. So in the United States of America, their system allows both parties a role in governance, a real role, not play.
The Queen's Counsel added that whilst in the past political parties were able to unify after an election, the advent of elements such as talk radio has aided in creating a heated political atmosphere, which further prevents meaningful cooperation by the political parties on critical issues such as natural disasters.
Politically, we are not really prepared for the sort of unity we will require if we had to face a natural disaster. And we have seen it. I am not speaking things which you don't know. We simply have to be honest and recognize the reality. And it's no point one side proclaiming their innocence and castigating the other side. Both sides, and let me tell you, whoever gets into power after the election will carry on in the same way and sometimes worse than those they replaced. Not because they are inherently evil, but it is seen that it is necessary for political survival.
In other news, students here are being encouraged to engage in activities which will bring pride to their school, family and communities. The encouragement comes from President of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, as he spoke on the SVG-TV's Speaks program on SVG-TV, discussing the rights and responsibilities of students. In highlighting some of the rights and responsibilities, Robinson said students are expected to follow the rules in relation to regular attendance at school.
So it says that you should attend classes regularly and punctually. But very sad, there are some students, for some reason or the other, they are not regular at school. And this is something that I want to encourage our teachers, our principals to look into. If you notice that there are students who are not attending school regularly, you need to step up, check it out, do your investigation and see what is happening. Unless if the student is sick, and in that case the school must be notified. Parents have a responsibility to notify the school. If the family has a very important function, whether religious or otherwise, then you have a responsibility also to inform the school.
Robinson said it is important for students to engage in positive activities which will bring pride to their school and parents, and by extension their communities.
As a student, you have to pay tribute. You must honor, you must respect your alma mater. The school that you attend now, the way you dress, it's important. You wear the correct uniform, and how do you conduct yourself? It's very sad after school, sometimes you see students loitering and some of the activities which they are involved in are not really positive. Even though there are many of our young people who are trying, there are still some who are not adhering to the way they conduct themselves, especially in their school uniforms, on the way from schools, on the public transportation, and so on. And we want to ask of you to really reconsider your destiny, your direction, the love for your school, and to also pay respect to your parents, because after all, they are the ones who have to find the money to attire you. And when the way you conduct yourself in the public, say something also about your home, your family, yourself, your whole public image. That is very important.
The Teachers Union President further encouraged students to exercise tolerance when handling disputes, adding that it is never too late to learn of one's rights and responsibilities.
It's important that you exercise tolerance. You have to be temperate in what you do. Nothing is wrong with getting angry, but you do not allow your anger to lead you down to a road that would lead to violence and crime. And we want to appeal to our students, when you have issues, that you try to speak about them in a very responsible way, respecting the rights of others, refrain from slander and defamation, because these things are against our fundamental rights and freedom. And it is not too early for our young people to start to learn about their rights and also their responsibilities as enshrined in the Constitution and also in our Education Act as we are examining.
Agriculture stakeholders here are being encouraged to work together to reduce predatory larceny here in SVG. The appeal comes from Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves as he gave remarks at a 2017 World Food Day exhibition held on Monday at Heritage Square. PM Gonsalves said this form of theft hampers the ability of farmers to produce and that rural officers must carry out their work effectively.
Biggest problems we have with the farmers in producing food is thief man. There is thief man. That's why we changed the law to say that when you're selling, You're supposed to have a card, a farmer's card. And I want to make sure that the Ministry of Agriculture is following up on this. And I want to make sure that the police are checking on it. And the farmers, the rural constables which we put at certain stations, the police must make sure that they don't use the rural constables to clean and cook in the police station. They are there to get the intelligence in relation to the theft of agricultural commodities and small animals.
PM Gonzalez said it is also important that farmers educate themselves on the act of predial larceny.
No. I'm afraid that some farmers are also thief, you know. Because some farmers might grow yam. They got sweet potato. But when you stop them, when the police stop them, they show the farmer's card. They got yam. The police have to check, make an example to check to see whether they genuinely have yam on the farm, because sometimes they will buy the yam from a thief man and they buy them cheap.
The Prime Minister also appealed to members of the farming community to work with the authorities to address the issue of predial larceny.
These are important matters which we have to see to. And inside of the communities, there are people who know who are the thief men. And you must tell the police who are the thief men. You hear me? Because they will thief from a farmer Brong today, and they will thief from farmer John tomorrow. So John, if you know about it, you have to talk when they thief from Brong. Because who next? Predial larceny it is called. The laws are on the books. We put procedures on the books. We just have to follow through on these things. The Ministry of Agriculture, the police, and the community.
And Vincentians have been encouraged to use motivation and innovation to overcome the challenges being faced in the agriculture sector and to take SVG forward. The advice comes from the local representative of the Food and Agriculture Organization, Dr. Colleen Phillips, as she spoke at the World Food Day exhibition on Monday at Heritage Square.
I feel compelled to say that agriculture simply cannot be about petty ambitions and personal agendas. It is much bigger than that. It is about our nation and about our farmers. We need to look past the persons and respect the portfolios of appointed officers and work in tandem with them to bring about efficiency so that the very need in the sector can be met. The time is critical. The time is now. We must challenge ourselves to become innovative and motivated through the mere fact that we all of us, receive a salary at the end of the month.
Chief Agriculture Officer Ashley Kane said the youth are perfectly placed to utilize technology in advancing the sector and call on all to grasp the opportunities which agriculture presents.
I want to therefore make a special appeal to the young people in our midst, and particularly the youth of our nation, to look at agriculture as an important opportunity and an important livelihood for us as a people here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have had the education revolution, which has laid the basis that the average child who stays in school to the age of 15 has been exposed to the rudiments and what is required for the application of science and technology, not only in agriculture, but across a wide spectrum. And it is on the back of that kind of investment and commitment that we would have the opportunity to tackle, challenge and overcome hardship and hunger and related issues in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said the government has been working on addressing issues which farmers face, particularly road access as well as foreign exchange issues.
One of the problems the farmers have is with the foreign exchange in Trinidad. And I want to tell you, I'm working assiduously on this matter. We have seen improvements and we will have the matter solved completely. Improvements have taken place down to this morning. I was dealing with this particular matter. And you will find that since August, things have improved and they fell back, then they improve again. And we have stabilized it and we have a way forward with it. We have a problem with some roads. Well, you just saw that we have over $90 million available for roads, feeder roads and secondary roads, and you'll see those starting to roll out later this year and early next year.
The Fancy Government School on Monday held its annual World Food Day exhibition. There was a wide array of local foods on showcase, which include cooked bread nuts, sweet potato pudding, dukana, and many other treats made from coconut. The event was supported by parents and other community well-wishers, and it was deemed a success. In other news, the Department of Foreign Policy and Research in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce is in the final week of visit to secondary schools and tertiary educational institutions here. As part of its quest to enhance public diplomacy at home and abroad, the ministry, through partnership with the Ministry of Education, presented to 4th and 5th formers on the importance of effective foreign policy and diplomatic relations, the role and functions of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce, as well as career opportunities that are available within the ministry. To date, the ministry said it has reached an audience of 974 students and teachers across 20 educational institutions. In addition to the presentations made, students and young professionals have been invited to participate in the 2017-2018 essay competition that is facilitated by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce. The competition is divided into two groups. Group 1, ages 15 to 20, and Group 2, ages 21 to 30. For further details and guidelines, persons can log on to www.gov.vc or the Facebook page of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce.